Hey, how's it going, everyone? Just back again with another what I call common board sermons. And so this is somebody who I'm familiar with, so I thought I could elaborate on this and then go through Revelation 6. I have videos on this, and then I'll put those links below with an explanation of every chapter in Revelation, and then putting it in the sequence and all that. But doesn't hurt to go over it again, especially because we're living through this. It's very clear to a lot of us. So this is from 1 Chronicles 4:10, Helmet B. He made a comment, then I'm like, if this is not the end times, there is no end times, in my humble opinion. And then he's like, amen, I do have another question. Where are the four horsemen in this? The only answer I see is that the book of Revelation is not exactly in chronological order, which is correct. All of Revelation, they're tiles, and you have to kind of put them together. It's kind of like a quilt. And then it will make sense. And then when you take that sequence and correlate it with the rest of the Bible, you'll get my backup channel. So that's true. I watched your breakdown, the true meaning of the phrase, the mark. Can you break down the word bow? And so I'm not actually sure why he is focusing on that word, because when I look up that word in Revelation 6:2, it's the same meaning. There's nothing unique about it. And so I'm not sure, why he's emphasizing that. Because I looked it up in the blue letter, and I'm like, all of Revelation 6 has already happened. And then he's like, Revelation 6:12-17, question mark, what? Not a chance, 0. Okay, I love you and I'll always give you an ear, but there's no way that's happened. It's happening now. Okay, Revelation 6:2 is happening now, in his humble opinion. So I'm like, I'll respond in a video. And then he's like, I'm all ears. And then he's like, and when you do that word I asked about, bow, like you did with Dexios, it's a critical word. So he may have to explain why it's so critical. I don't think the timeline is that far apart between the two of us. The main difference is enduring till the end. It's either that or it's the Bible's not true at this point. It's not funny, but there's no negotiating, okay? Because once Revelation is put in order, you will find that everywhere. I have 100 and almost 50 probably times where that sequence appears in the Bible, and then it even appears in a rap song. So I could find it literally everywhere, because God is creating all of this, because he's behind all of this. He runs everything on this earth. So it would have to be everywhere, and stuff. So I don't understand. I know he's not negotiating, but there's no negotiating at this point. It's what the Bible says. Okay, I didn't change anything. I just was told the sequence, and I found it everywhere. And you've proclaimed that all your eggs are in this year's basket. So I want people to understand this is not a bet or anything that I'm making. Okay, and I have to see it to believe it, as well, because or else it's just theoretical. But if what I was told on January 1st, 2020 comes true, then I'm one of God's elect, and I didn't ask for it, and it's either a 1 or a 0. There's no that happened and then let's see what Shrek does with this information. No, that is it. Okay, it's and then Revelation 7 talks about God's elect being sealed, and so then I'm one of the 144,000, and so I didn't ask for it, and then we were sealed with the truth. Okay, the key to unlock Revelation, and then not what it's been taught by man, because man will tell you the two witnesses are groups or nations or in Israel or look like what they won't look like, and lots of other things. And then they'll say Mystery Babylon, something else. They'll say lots of things. And then they'll say Christ will only return once, which is another thing that I was told, that he will return once to take away his elect and then return with his elect. Okay, 1,260 days later. So you can set your watch to it. So that's what it is. Okay, and so there's no eggs in a basket or anything like that. It's either 1 or 0. It's binary. It's on or off. And if that is the case, I, as a courtesy, let people know, because I'm very upfront with people on my channel, that Christ will return prior to when my savings run out. He has to. And then if I'm not of that group, he could still return, in that time. Then it's not up to me, and that kind of thing, that I'm not involved in the timing of it. But if I am, then I have one vote, and then I know, and I'm telling people when I'm going to throw in the towel, so to speak, metaphorically. And then Christ will have to return, in that time period. because I'm one of his elect that would be not destined to die. Every one of those 144,000 men in Revelation 7 will not die. And then I'll explain why that is based on what you say here. So I'm not putting my eggs in a basket. Okay, I don't have any eggs and I don't have a basket. Okay, I would have been chosen to receive that information. And the only way that we know that that's true is if what I teach happens. Okay. And so just know that. And so whatever you're pushing, you think Revelation 6 is happening now, if that doesn't come true, then you're a false prophet and you're Antichrist. Okay. And so your eggs are in your eggs are in that basket too, whatever you're teaching. And now you're putting it on my channel as public. And so for anybody out there, make sure whatever you think is going on, that your life is behind it and that it came from God. Okay. I know within the first 10 seconds of somebody talking that they didn't go to God for their information. Because when somebody does go to God, first of all, they come back excited. It's like, imagine if you went to somebody famous on earth and they told you something, you'd be like, oh, look at this picture of me and this celebrity. That's all you would want to talk about. So that's all I want to talk about on my channel. Okay, it's not funny, but no one else have I seen does that. Okay, so there's something unique. At least pay attention. I'm not saying take it for truth until we see it, ultimately, but no one else has done that. These are all just vain opinions. And then it's not rooted in anything. Okay. You should simply be able to tell me, God told me this, and then just go with it and then tell me. But I don't see that here and with everybody that comes by my channel. And then so I know that something else is going on. And I think you know what that something else is. I agree this is going to be a horrible year with knocks on our doors, internment camp, starvation, Christians giving in, not willing to die for the Lord, a great falling away. That's already happened. Okay. God's left-hand side is simply being identified. Okay. And then it's easy for us to identify God's left-hand side because they go against obvious teachings in the Bible. Okay. And so hopefully you don't think that these quote Christians are close to God or anything like that. It's a very, very small number. I want people to understand in Revelation 13, it talks about all of them will worship the beast. What does all mean? It's pretty much everybody. Okay. And then the swords in Revelation 16:2 are going to fall on a majority of the earth. And then it's just a small group that's left because only those who have the righteousness that exceeds the scribes and the Pharisees will enter. And so the Pharisees knew the law and they knew not to make any carvings in their flesh or anything like that. And so those people that are in the kingdom will know at least that. Okay. And that's not very many people. And that's just one of the laws to not do. And so do the math. Okay. It's just a very, very, very small group of people. So just understand that. And so anytime you're using the term Christians in any way, it just means that you don't know what's going on. Okay. I hope to God you don't think that God even cares remotely about them. They're just actors. And they're the main chief princes for Satan. Okay. Because they don't know what's going on and they'll just go along with whatever the government says. The falling away has already happened. Okay, and then we're going to explain that in Revelation 6 as well. With the earth being run by evil people. Okay, Job 9:24 and Revelation 6 explains it. It's all the same narrative. It's the process of God literally giving the earth to wicked people. And what do wicked people do? They kill. What does Christ do? He brings life. So they'll do the opposite of what Christ does. And then we'll read that in Revelation 6. I'm seeing that now with people close to me. I don't believe tribulation and the great wrath are the same event. Yeah, good. That's good. It's true. It's not. Tribulation and great tribulation are two different things. And wrath and great tribulation are the same thing. And so that's good. Just know that they're not the same because the elect are not appointed unto wrath, but they will be saved out of tribulation. And there's many verses to support that. We're going to be going through some tribulation in the next few months. I have been going through tribulation my whole life. Why? Because I've been lied to about my surroundings, first and foremost, and then my spiritual surroundings, that this is hell. So I've been lied to about everything that's important. Okay, so if you're not gone through tribulation and you were okay with that, I'm not personally. And then that's why I go to God, because God is behind the deception, according to Job 12:16 and lots of verses in the Bible. The deceived and the deceiver are his. So God did the deception and he deceived me. And then so I go to God and ask him, why did you do that? Okay. Like any child would go to their parents. Why'd you do that? Okay. Why'd you lie and put these other people in charge of me when, I know that you're my heavenly father. And that's what anybody with one functioning brain cell would do. But a lot of you people don't have a functioning brain. And then so I have to tell you how my brain works. Okay. Because it works pretty well. And so that's what I do. Okay. And then Christ says that only those who have this childlike common sense will be able to enter into the kingdom. Okay. Because then they have to humble themselves and then ask God for everything. Okay, and then we ask God for everything, literally, not just salvation, everything from that point going forward, and from that point to the times that we live in now, and so from this point to then. So that's what I do. Okay, and so I have been in tribulation my entire life, even if I didn't know it. Okay, so if you haven't been, then that's, you like it here then, I guess. You're okay with being lied to about everything. So it doesn't surprise me that that's the case. Both scenarios are horrible. Yours sounds better, but all the apostles died gruesomely. Maybe. I mean, yeah, certainly the ones we know of, some for sure that did. And that's their reward. Okay, so the apostles were told in Acts 1:10-11 that what you saw, you're going to see the same thing again. You're going to see Christ appear now returning, and then you're going to see two men brought to earth. The same scene is going to play out again. So they're here on this earth, and so they're going to be saved, and so they will not die. That group that's sealed in Revelation 7 as a reward for that and everything. They wrote the Bible inspired by God. So they're reading all the stuff that they wrote and were a part of, and people were documenting their trials and tribulations like you're saying here. So that's their reward. Okay, and that's why they're saved, because they were the main, quote, characters in this whole movie, even whether they knew it or not. And so, yeah, that's the reason why they're going to be saved, because they died gruesomely. At a minimum, how in the world can you believe we avoid what they went through? It's a group that's chosen, okay? And so God chooses to grant mercy to whoever he wants, you know, and I've read a verse on that, you know, in Romans. And it's Romans 9:15, and again, the numerology is 9 plus 15 is 24, 44. This is for God's elect. The whole Bible will only make sense to a certain group of people. And so you're either in that group or you're not. And that's what's exciting for me personally, is I'm going to find out in 5 months. You know, clock's ticking. It's amazing. For he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So God chooses. That's why the group are literally called the chosen. They're just chosen. And so they didn't like run more laps or do more push-ups or whatever. I didn't, you know, do any push-ups or anything to get that revelation if it ends up happening. So just know that they're chosen. With only the vaguest of scripture supporting it, horseman riding right now, endure till the end, that's a Jesus commandment. Yeah, but that end is described by Jesus in Matthew 24 as a time where people are eating and drinking and giving into marriage. So a majority of the world, even the Christians, are going to be like raising a glass. Hey, everything's fine. We'll be okay. Christ ain't returning anytime soon. No big deal. And that kind of thing. So why would that group need salvation during a time where everybody seems to be doing okay? Because they know that they're in hell. And then they know that Christ is about to deliver the wrath of God. You know, and so they're going to be put on notice, because if you read Revelation 7, they're sealed prior to the wrath, before God hurting anything, you know, the earth and the trees. And so they're going to be put on notice, you know, that who cares if everybody else thinks it's fine and they want to endure for 10 or 15 or 1,000 years. Don't worry about them. That's what they're told. And so just know that. So the end times is not the way you've been taught. Okay, you've been lied to. It's very, very clear now. You're propagating here. And then not only that, the end of the Great Tribulation period is still a time where America's buying stuff, you know, if you read Revelation 11. And so just know that. Okay, so even the end of the end times, there's still commerce happening prior to America being destroyed by the other nations. So the end times are not what you've been taught. Okay, it's going to seem normal to still a large group of people, even after God has hit the entire earth with Revelation 16. He's put swords on them. He's done everything. He's hit them with the kitchen sink. And they still think that they're going to keep going. The Bible says their inward thought is that their houses will endure forever. Okay? They don't think that God can do anything and harm them. This is the mindset of the people and a lot of Christians that come by my channel. Possibly you. Endure to the end. That's a Jesus commandment. Also love one another. Another thing that the Bible teaches in Ecclesiasticus 40:28, my son, lead not a beggar's life, for better it is to die than to beg. And so we don't beg anymore. We only beg God. We don't beg this government. We don't beg anybody on YouTube or any of the church or any of it. We don't care. Okay, we're not fighting for rights, joining Zoom Truth, stupid people find, or whatever the hell he's pushing now. That nonsense. We're not fighting for the fake people that he makes up, Mike Marshall, like all these other retards. We don't care. Okay, we are going to beg God for salvation, and that's it, because we want to be in the presence of our Heavenly Father, which anybody with one brain cell would want, even during a calm time. Okay, so just know that. Also, love one another. Calling people stupid is not winning anything. If a person is stupid, they're stupid. Okay. If what I teach doesn't come true, then I was at best stupid. I was a liar, deceiver, and then antichrist. I was a false prophet, and then that represents a false Christ, and so I was part of the deception. Okay. And so it works both ways. Okay. And I say that all the time. And then the nice thing about my claims is I'm the only person that I've seen is that my life is behind it, and there's a strict time limit. It's not all whatever, just give me another year or 2 years or 3 years, see what happens or whatever. No, I don't want another 2 or 3 years or anything like that. So I'm very happy about it. But just know that people are stupid. Don't get offended. Okay, lots of people are stupid. I've been around very, very smart people at Rice, and then I was stupid relative to them. Okay, like in mathematics, statistics, or whatever. And so it's just what it is. And I'm not trying to win anything. How can I try and win other people over when God seals his elect? You people don't know the Bible, and you don't read it, and you don't care that God is doing everything. Okay, you think the world here is run by wizards. You're about to say that God runs everything. Okay, and so that's you can't understand that because your brain is not open to that. Okay, and so your job is just to scurry around in the system and then get other people to believe whatever nonsense you're pushing here. So I'm not trying to win over anything. I'm trying to declare. All I'm doing is brain dump and then declaring that I'm not deceived. And then I'm putting my narrative that God told me out there for people to observe. And I'm observing it too. And so it cannot begin until Christ returns. And not just returns, takes away his elect and brings 2 men here. That's a crucial aspect of his return that no one else teaches. Okay, so if that happens, then God taught me that. And then I was one of that group in Revelation 7. And then I'm one of the elect. Okay, and then I didn't ask for it, okay? And so I didn't just come up with that on my own. God told me that, and I know the exact day. And then the whole Bible was unlocked, and that's what I demonstrate on my channel. So I can't convince anybody of that. How can I convince anybody that the 2 men in Acts 1:10-11 are the 2 men in Revelation 11? No one else teaches that. And so either you got that from God or you're just waiting to see it happen, and you're observing it. But the only way you would genuinely believe that and wait for it and put your life behind it is if God told you that. And so that's why I'm doing that. Okay. So I'm not trying to win over anybody or anything. Okay. So don't expect politeness the way you define politeness. Okay. These are serious things. You're putting text on my channel that may or may not be true. And so I have to scrutinize it. Okay. And then if you end up teaching something that's wrong, God's going to be like, why were you sharing that? Revelation 6 is not happening now. Okay, or whatever I teach, that's not happening. So God would ask me, why were you teaching that? That's not authorized. Okay, you're just confusing other people. Okay, so just know that this is serious. You can't just blurt out random things, certainly on my channel, and then expect me to be like, yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, we got 50% of it overlap. No, not bad. Pull up a chair. No, I'm going to say you're stupid. Okay, unless what you teach comes true and then your life was behind it. And so I have a feeling what you're saying here, your life won't be behind it. And I'll go through Revelation 6 and I'll explain the way I understand it. If we dig in too deep, we're no longer teachable. I'm not trying to be taught by a human, okay? You people are all stupid, okay? And I would not have any offense if you called me stupid and then you said, I only trust what God says. I would say, you're smart now, okay? I'll be like, I'll change my opinion on that one person because you're all stupid, okay? And you should say that I'm stupid. And then because we live in a deceptive time, that's very, very clear. And then you're like, I only want to get information from God. I don't beg anybody on earth for anything. Like I read in Ecclesiasticus, I only go to God. So I would not be offended if you called TMoG stupid and you went to God and got some information and you're like, God told me this. And then you come back here and then the first thing you write is, hey, Shreg, hey, TMoG, God told me this on this date, da-da-da-da-da. And I'll be like, oh, okay, let's compare gods, okay? And that kind of thing. But you will never say that because you guys don't go to God. You just have stupid opinions. And then you just advertise your ignorance on my comment board. And then it just allows me to kill time and then declare how stupid you are. So that's the way it works. That's why I'm always willing to give an ear to common sense and reasonable interpretation. So this is not an interpretation. This is what God told me. Okay, let me be specific. The 2 men in Acts 1:10-11 are the 2 witnesses. Okay, one thing. Another thing, Revelation 11 has not happened yet. Okay, and then that will begin when Christ returns to take away his elect. I was told that. And their job, quote job, during that 1260 days is to enact the plagues in Revelation 16. And those earthquakes at the end of those 2 chapters are the same. Okay, and that's a 1260-day period. Now, next, what's the 30 days, as Daniel talks about. That's the time of Christ returning with his elect to destroy everybody on earth with the mark of the beast, with fire. And that's real fire, no matter what you fake Christians say. And then there's another period of 45 days for the remnant, which are in the Middle East, and they're keeping the law as I record this video right now. So that's 1,335 days. So, and then if you take that sequence and then correlate that through the whole Bible, thumbs up. You get that everywhere, okay, from the beginning to the end, and even the Apocrypha. And so that's the way it is, okay? And so if that doesn't come true, then the Bible's not true, because that's what the Bible says, okay? And so just know that. And I did not come up with that on my own, okay? Like, wow, I got inspired on January 1st, and then all of a sudden it just all of it clicked or whatever. No, God told me that, okay? And so, and I know that God said that because he said it everywhere in the Bible, okay? It just doesn't fit in one book. It's everywhere, okay? And so you can never phrase your quote interpretations that way. It's just your opinion, okay? And your opinions don't mean anything, because you will never be able to take your opinion on Revelation 6 and then explain how that fits into all the books of the Bible or the Apocrypha or anything. And so just know that. That's why it's very easy to dismiss these. They're just this is not even an opinion, because all you just said is Revelation 6 is happening right now, and that's it, okay? So it's not even anything. But it doesn't hurt to go over Revelation 6 again. I realized I didn't know anything. That's why okay, good. Because throughout my life, I've never lost a debate, and then the earth was flat. So you were debating prior to that about the shape of the earth, or was that just new revelation? Okay. And so, yeah, fair enough. We're learning new things all the time. And I don't understand your point. I don't understand why you're saying that. What are you talking about? So if you're trying to say that I should be open to another person's opinion because there was a time where you were deceived, like a lot of us were, about the ball earth, believing the ball earth, then the main difference is that what I'm teaching, I believe God told me that. Okay. And so you will never be able to say that. So what's the wiggle room? Well, I don't know. I'm going to leave some room open, even though the narrative in the Revelation is consistent everywhere in the Apocrypha. I'll leave a little wiggle room in case Helmut has some idea, which here he doesn't even express and doesn't make any sense, which I'll show in Revelation 6. So let me leave some wiggle room open for a person on YouTube that has no idea what's going on with the Bible or anything like that. And so what are you talking about? Okay. I do agree with so much of what you're saying, but the lack of preparedness with thinking we're out of here before it gets bad is irresponsible. It's not irresponsible. It's what anybody with a brain would do, okay? Because I treat the God of the Bible as my heavenly Father. And so if you deceive your kids, use the analogy, let's say you have children, and then they find out that you're deceiving them, and then they ask you, Dad, why are you deceiving us? What would you do? Tell them to shut up. Go away. Okay. And then be like, no, just accept it. No, God tells us that he's deceived us. He's deceived me my whole life. And so I go to God and I ask him, why'd you do that? Okay. And then he's explained to us that it was needed for a particular reason, and for you to understand we're alive now, okay? Because we would have been the group that's involved in writing the Bible in the past, and then now we trust what we have been a part of writing, and so we trust that only. And then we want that forever. That's God's word, okay? And so we only trust that. We don't trust Helmut, Zoom Truth, D-Flat, and all you other stupid people that come by my channel. I don't trust anything you say, unless it starts with God told me this, and then you rhyme off all the verses and then you explain it, but I don't see any of that, and I never will from anybody, because you guys haven't gone to God, and it's very, very obvious that that's the case, and he hasn't told you a single thing except just praying this nonsense, okay, that you guys share that here, which is just to kill time, basically. So it's not irresponsible. It's what anybody with a functioning brain would do, okay? And so you people love enslavement. I know it. It's like it's in your pores, okay? And the most disgusting people on this earth are the religious people, the Christians, because they're gatekeeping. They want us to feel bad when we go to the Heavenly Father and ask to be saved today. They're like, no, not yet. No, you go back in your jail cell, whatever, come back a year from now. So the Christians are the most disgusting people. They're trying to get in between me, and they never will with me, but like other people between them and the Heavenly Father. That's their job, whether they know they're doing it or not, just like what Helmut's trying to do here. And so these are the most disgusting people. And then they have the nerve to say, and yes, I pray and God asks daily, I'm one of his favorites. Okay, well, are you really one of his favorites? Really? Trying to get people to not call on God now, okay, and all that kind of stuff. You don't think there's enough evil and suffering in the world yet? For Christ to return. Christ is going to return for the poor, the needy, and the widows, okay? And they didn't just become poor yesterday. Newsflash for all you retards who think that God actually cares about your stupid opinions and your vain interpretations that are just stupid, okay? That's just what they are. And they're evil if they're ultimately don't come true. And there's no way that Revelation 6 is happening right now, okay? That'll be very, very clear, and I'll show how that's clearly not the case. Revelation 6, and I saw when the Lamb opened up one of the seals, and I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder, one of the four beasts saying, come and see. And so, again, God is doing this, okay? God is giving the earth into the hand of the wicked, okay, according to Job 9:24, and then this is going to be also the process, and so the whole Bible is consistent, okay? And so God is doing that. So he's giving the control over, and he's designing that group to be evil for his judgments. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. So the crown represents leadership, on this earth, and then a bow represents power, okay? And so this white horse is now going to be able to have dominion, and then again, it's an evil form of leadership, which we're going to read in these verses. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. Okay, so where on earth there was peace, functioning economy, people were trading and all that kind of stuff, God gave these beasts, these horses, the ability then to go and take peace from those economies. Okay, so just know that. And that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. And they should kill one another. So they're starting beef, they've set this nation against this nation, and then there's going to start becoming evil and division. And ultimately God is bringing this division. So just know that God is going to be setting families at variance in the last days and leading up to it here. So just know that. Verse 5, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see, and behold, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Verse 6, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. So this is in Revelation 6:6, okay? This is the lead up to the last days when money was no longer worth anything, okay? They took money away from being backed by gold, silver, or anything physical, and they can now just print it out of thin air through fractional reserve banking. So like the Bretton Woods and all those kind of agreements where they started, shifting the monetary policy was the beginning of inflation. And this is one of the judgments of God leading up to the times that we live in now, this little season, which we'll talk about. And so just know that. So these are all things that have led up to this evil age that we live in now, where God is taking peace from the earth. He's bringing division, and then he's removing the value of money, because God needs to print money like a lot to accomplish all the things that are going on now. Okay. And the military industrial complex, which ultimately is designed to fight against God. So just know that. So all this evil that is happening here on earth, do you think they're just going to be evil amongst one another? When God visits, they're going to fight against God. Okay. And so if you understand that principle, which is very clear you don't, then you won't understand any of these verses. Okay. Because Revelation ultimately is a preparation for the earth, the evil structures here, to fight against God. Okay, they just know that. They're sort of against each other here, but ultimately they're going to battle against God, and the whole world is going to unify and fight against God, almost the entire earth. Okay, it's just a very, very small group of people that are the elect, and then the mixed multitude. And so it's a majority of the earth. Okay, so they're all on the same page. Like if you read Revelation 13, they're all going to worship the beast. And Revelation 16:2, they're all going to have swords. Okay, so it's a majority of the earth. Your favorite truther's is likely going to have swords. Okay, just because they're a flat earther doesn't mean that God loves them. They're all actors. Okay, and they're all Satanists, and they blaspheme him regularly. So by not even talking about him. Okay, they're adding or taking away from this book, and it's very sinister to take away, from Revelation, because you're not even considering it as a narrative for the end times. So just know that. And so here in Revelation 6:6, we have inflation, which started back when the dollar was not backed by anything. Verse 7, and when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death and Hell. So death and hell are synonymous. So hell is this physical earth, and death is the body. Okay, so a lot of times you'll see death and hell together. And these are things happening here on earth. Okay, for all those people who think hell is a spiritual dimension, which is ridiculous. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword and with hunger and with death and with the beasts of the earth. Okay, so now they're going to start killing, and then they're going to kill a very specific group here that we're going to read that are part of God's right-hand side, the dead in Christ. This is the group that's going to, quote, rise first, okay? And so just know that. And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them which were slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held, okay? And so this is a group that we're going to see that have already been killed for their testimony. And we're going to know that based on what's written here. So, and they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? So they're out of the body, okay? And then they're like, when are you going to judge those people for killing us, okay? And then they're given an answer, after they're given these white robes. In verse 11, and white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, okay? That's an interesting use of that language, a little season. Where do we see that? Big shocker, okay? The Bible's consistent. Wow, it's amazing, right? Big shocker, okay? Revelation 20, verse 3, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. Okay, and then if you understand the bottomless pit, that's a reference to Revelation 9:11 or the 9/11 event, whatever you want to call that. And so that's the time period that we live in now. Okay, and so God's saying here that we have to still go through this little season first. Okay, and that began on 9/11. Okay, this deceptive age that we live in. And then this is going to be the final sifting for God's right-hand side. His elect first, which are taken away and do not die. And then the mixed multitude, which is being talked about here. So just know that. And so the language here of a little season links up with Revelation 20. Okay, so the whole Bible is consistent. Okay, it's amazing. And when white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them, so these are all on God's right-hand side, that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants and also their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. So this final avenging of their blood will not happen until they should be killed as they were. Okay, so that can't be the elect. So this cannot have happened yet because the elect have not been taken away. And then so this has to happen at the end of the Great Tribulation. Okay, when the rest of God's right-hand side are taken away. So they're the ones who don't have the sores in Revelation 16:2. And then they give up their life. Like this group has already given up their life. And so God's like, just wait, okay? There's a little season left, okay? And then the rest of the God's right-hand side will be collected, which is this group, the dead in Christ. Then it's the elect, and then it's the mixed multitude, okay? And so those group combined is God's right-hand side, okay? And so just know that. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. So God uses the things in the sun and the moon prior to destruction, and so we see that here. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, and she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of her place. If you look at a bomb going off, it'll literally look like a scroll, in the heavens. And that's what it means here. And it says the heavens departed as a scroll. So these are all events that have happened in the past. And ultimately, all those bombs and stuff that they've been working on over the years of this destruction and evil, this fighting amongst one another, is to prepare to fight against God. Okay? God's left-hand side are in agreement and preparing and spending money to develop weapons to fight against God. Okay, so just know that. If you don't understand that, then the Bible won't make sense. Okay, and then you get that in Revelation, but also in 2nd Ezra. So that's what they're preparing for. Okay, and the ball Earth was needed to make that happen because NASA is a front for weaponizing space. Okay, so hopefully you know that. Okay, and so again, these are all things that have happened in the past during these quote-unquote world wars. Okay, and so just know that. And the kings of the earth and the great men and the rich men and the chief captains and the mighty men and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rock of the mountain. So they were like, whoa, okay, because this is the first time they've ever seen anything like explode, and just huge. They're like, wow, okay. So they're amazed, by those signs of what they can do with quote unquote technology and, chemical weapons and all that kind of stuff. And so they're to some extent even in awe of what they're doing, the evil and that kind of thing. And so just know that. And said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. Listen to this, for the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? And so this is now a lead up to the wrath of God. And so they're aware now that this is God's coming, okay? And when Christ returns, they're going to fight against God. Okay, and so when you want to understand the wrath of God, you have to go to the end of Revelation 15 and 16. And so that describes the wrath of God, and that has not happened yet. Okay, and we know it hasn't happened yet because it involves the mark of the beast. That's the first plague. And so even during this time, they're like, it's coming. Okay, and so they know during this time these bombs are going off and all that. That's what they're preparing for, because when Christ returns, these kings of the earth, they're not going to be hiding and all that. They're going to be firing. So they're not going to be, quote, scared. They're going to be shooting at them. Okay, and just know that that's what the Bible says. And so it's not even going to be a fair fight. Okay, it's just like it's going to be easy, the cleanup. Okay, when Christ returns with his elect, and you can get that, go in any of my sequence videos, but Isaiah 66:15 is a good example of that when Christ returns with his elect, it's going to be with fire. Okay, and then they're going to fight. Okay, and they're going to lose. Isaiah 66:15, for behold, the Lord will come with fire. Okay, and with chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. And that's real fire, and that's in 66:15, 666. Everybody that's going to get hit with that fire will have the mark of the beast. They've gotten through these sores and all that kind of stuff. So just know that. Okay, so Revelation 6 has already happened. Okay, and it's consistent with what we see in history. And then for the great day of his wrath is come. Okay, so it's talking about after all this stuff has happened, now the wrath is coming. But like it said earlier, it's only the blood of those who have already been killed can only be avenged after this little season. Okay, and then that little season is what described in Revelation 20, which is the time of deception, which is Revelation 12. Okay, so once you get all these tiles put together, you understand what's going on, that ultimately God is essentially fishing for souls, and it's right-hand side. He's recombining them, but he's putting them through different situations. And so this group here, they had to die during the historical time. God's elect will not die, but he's going to try and deceive them. Okay, and then the mixed multitude, which are in all nations, go through some amount of the great tribulation. Okay, they have to give up their life. Okay, and so those three groups together is God's right-hand side. Okay, and then they're going to be combined, and then they're going to be in the kingdom. Okay, and all of their righteousness will exceed the scribes and the Pharisees, because that's what Christ tells us. And so they're going to have a minimal amount of righteousness to enter into the kingdom. And then the Bible says the least in that kingdom is greater than John the Baptist. And John the Baptist is one of the two witnesses. I was told that as well, Moses and Elijah. And so just know that that's an amazing place, because even the least in that group is going to be more powerful than John the Baptist, who's had power over the clouds and will again in the last days, which I believe when Christ returns, which I believe, if I'm one of the elect, it's going to be this year, they'll be brought here. So you're going to see two quote-unquote dark-skinned men in America for 1,260 days. Okay, and I did not come up with that on my own. God told me that. Okay, so anybody who comes by my channel and does not say God told me and then fill in the blank, you have a target on your head. Okay, and so what you said, Revelation 6, is happening now, makes absolutely no sense. Okay, because you have to understand that ultimately the entire world is in alignment, except for a very, very small group of people. And so they're not going to go and conquer anybody anymore, okay? Because everybody's on board, okay? And if you're not on board, but you're still on God's left-hand side, you're going to get sores, and then you're going to group together with them to fight against the two witnesses first, and then God returning in the sky. So those group are all aligned. They're all liars. They're all actors, okay? And then they don't have the truth. And then when you tell them the truth, they get angry or defensive or just stop calling me names and all that kind of stuff. And so I know that it's a majority of people on this earth that hate the words of the Bible because they just make up stuff. Okay, it's like they don't go to God and ask him what did God say about that. Okay, and they don't say anything like that. They just make up stuff. Okay, it's a quote doctrines of men, and the nice thing about it is the quote men who are teaching are stupid. They're all ridiculously retarded, and so all the interpretations are dumb except the one that I present, because it's consistent with the whole Bible. Okay, and then most importantly, God told me that. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question on Revelation 6. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye.